thank you all for coming to this virtual presentation of the UNM College of Education and Human Sciences Chapter 2020, the Alumni and Community Awards. And I'm Mary Ann Trott. I'm the chair of the Alumni Chapter. And I've had the privilege of chairing the awards committee during its first 2 years of existence. And it's just has been such a gift to see what amazing things our alumni have done. I have had the privilege of chairing this committee, and I'd really like to recognize and thank the members of the Alumni and Community Awards Committee for their work in choosing our 2020 award winners from a very impressive field. It was not an easy task. The individuals that we're honoring today have indeed brought distinction and honor to UNM, to the college, and to our community and the communities in which they have had influence. Our current recipients have done just that. And while we would love to celebrate them with a classy reception, complete with lots of Lobo spirit and a really tasty spread, I hope you have your snacks with you. We're grateful that all of you have come to honor them with your time and your attention. And it just kind of blows me away how many people really make an effort to show up to these Zoom meetings to honor people and to gather together for that. So whether you're a nominator, a supporter, a colleague, a friend, a family member, or just a College of Education and Human Sciences enthusiast, know that we are honored by your presence. And we really look forward to celebrating the 2020 Alumni and Community Award winners. So we have a lot of people here, which is just super. I see there are 65 people present right now, and I'm so glad for that. I think that we are ready to listen to Dr. Hansel Burley. He assumed the role of the Dean of the College of Education and Human Sciences in July, and my husband and I had the privilege of having a chat with him just not too long ago. So I am really looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And thank you for joining us this afternoon, Dr. Burley, and for offering your thoughts.
Thank you, Mary Ann, and hopefully you can hear me. That's really great. Thank you so much. Always good to see you. Thank you, Mary, for your work and pulling all of this together and working with Mary Ann. This is just great. I want to welcome you all to this wonderful reception, virtual though it may be. It is wonderful. It is a beautiful day here in Albuquerque and in New Mexico. I don't know if you can tell with the lighting. I suppose there are clouds passing by, and so the light changes here because it's just a beautiful day with blue sky and clouds. It is as if the heavens are celebrating along with us in this moment. I cannot appreciate enough, and we can't appreciate enough, the work of our awardees this afternoon, this evening, of the good work that they have done. They've made an impact, and that's why we're honoring them. You know, I think it was Victor Hugo who said something along the lines of, the person that opens a school door closes a prison. And we literally have awardees who have opened school doors in various ways that, that have led to education and wellness. And that's just absolutely fantastic. I'm excited to be a part of this celebration, and congratulations to the awardees. And of course, congratulations to UNM College of Education and Human Sciences. I'm so happy that you all are affiliated with us in some way as faculty and instructors or graduates of various sorts. And thank you for your good work.
Thank you, Dr. Burley. We really look forward to continuing our work together. We've got a lot to do, and we've got a wonderful group of people to support the college here. The actual award, and Brianna, there it is. That is the actual award, and they have been delivered to the recipients so they won't have to wait for their award. So what this actually is, in case you were wondering, recipients, is it's a wine bottle holder, but sparkling water will do just fine. And I actually put a big old fat candle in one of these the other day, and it looked pretty slick. that way too. So this is the award, each engraved with the College of Education and Human Sciences, the Alumni Award winner 2020, and then it has the recipient's name. So that's what the recipient looks like. So these have been delivered to the recipients. Even Dr. Arismendi in Mexico has his. So they won't have to wait for their awards until we can give them in person. I would like to tell you a little bit about Dr. Anselmo Torres Arismendi. Professor Anselmo Torres Arismendi received a master's degree in education with an emphasis in educational administration. He went on to receive a PhD with a concentration in educational thought and sociocultural studies. His work in the Language, Literacy, and Sociocultural Department and the Office of Latin American Programs in Education, the LAPE, within the College of Education and Human Sciences, contributed to an impressive international career that has included collaboration in the planning of academic programs for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, the Organization of American States, and the Organization of Ibero-American States. He has received awards for his work in Latin American social development in Argentina, and has also been recognized by the governments of Mexico for his contributions in higher education. He has been a visiting professor at universities in Latin America, Mexico, and the United Arab Emirates. He is currently a tenured professor of educational methodologies of National Pedagogical University in Mexico and the coordinator for research at the North Regional Committee for Cooperation for UNESCO in Mexico. In nominating Dr. Torres Arismendi, Dr. Eliseo Torres noted numerous collaborations and projects throughout Latin America to which he has significantly contributed. The UNM College of Education and Human Sciences is honored to name Dr. Anselmo Torres Arismendi as a recipient of the Alumni Award. Dr. Arismendi, can you please speak with us a little bit?
Yes, thank you everybody. And I'm very happy for this day. And I agree with you, Dr. Burley. It is a beautiful day. Dr. Hansel Burley, Dean of the College of Education and Human Sciences, Committee of the 2020 Alumni Community Award, Faculty of the College of Education, colleagues and friends, with your permission. It is an honor for me to accept and receive this 2020 Alumni and Community Award from UNM College of Education and Human Sciences, my alma mater. 22 years ago, I left Mexico with the dream of look for new horizons of academic and professional growth. I arrived to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and knocked at the door of the College of Education of UNM. My former university in Mexico, Universidad Autónoma del Estado de Morelos, sent me to UNM in one of the students exchange programs it had with many universities in the world. I had the opportunity of know the different programs it has, and I was delighted to select a special educational program for educational administrations that was coordinated by the Office of Latin American Programs in Education. This was the beginning of a long academic journey on graduate studies in education that changed my life completely. I met some people who helped me grow academically and professionally. I had the pleasure to collaborate at the Office of Latin American Programs in Education, LAPE, as a graduate assistant. LAPE is the international force of the College of Education and Human Sciences, and working there represented to me an incredible opportunity to learn all about international education. I learned about the multi-diverse universe of cultural and educational contexts in Latin American countries. We had collaborations with different institutions and governments of the region. LAPE is in fact an educational laboratory in which everybody can learn and generate knowledge to promote social and educational development for the American continent. I congratulate the College of Education to maintain LAPE as an strategical academic unit. I also collaborated at the Office of the Vice President of Student Affairs, helping on the recruitment of international students in Latin America. This experience was also very important for me because I could have organizing meetings of UNM with several universities of the region. As a result of these meetings, some international and short programs for students and faculty took place at UNM. I cannot continue this speech without mentioning my thankfulness to some special people that were very close to me and helped me get this dream come true. Dr. Arturo Nelas, Maestra Josefina San Vicente, Guillermina Engelbrecht, Dr. Guillermina Engelbrecht, Dr. Rebecca Blum Martinez, Dr. Eliseo Torres, Dr. Nieve Torres, Gloria Olson, Greg Olson, Patricia Colahan, and all my professors who shared their knowledge with me during these graduate studies. Thank you very much. In 2009, I returned back to Mexico, and I continued my educational and professional experience, and I have had the opportunity to work in on my two main academic passions, teaching and research. Some public and private institutions around Mexico opened their doors to me and let me help them in their academic development. Being back to my country, let me fulfill the commitment or contribute on the Mexican educational development. This commitment was very special because my graduate studies were paid by Mexican government with taxes of Mexican population. I had the responsibility of come back, and I did it. I have had the chance to collaborate with several higher institutions in Mexico, as well as with the North Regional Committee for Cooperation for UNESCO in Mexico, as a research and later on as a coordinator for research and educational projects. From this institution, I have been working with educational and social communities all over the country on research action projects that promote the problem-solve approach in education. This in order to contribute to the well-being of Mexican society. I want to express my gratitude to special persons who have received me on my returning to Mexico, my country. Doctora Carmen Carrión Carranza, Doctor Alfredo Fernández, rest in peace. Familia Domínguez Guzmán, Maestro Eliseo Cano, Maestra Neti Galindo, Maestro Mario Morales, Doctora Lucila Hernández, Maestro César Peña, muchas gracias for receiving me. I also want to mention that in 2016, I got my tenure faculty position at the Universidad Pedagógica Nacional in Mexico. Thank you, Maestro Haroldo Aguirre Wences, for receiving me. Over this 22 years period, I could get my dream come true. And due to my studies, not only at UNM, in other countries as well, I see myself as a global citizen, but with my heart in Mexico forever. Studying at UNM made me be a lobo, strong in loneliness and solidarity when in group. I would like to dedicate this award to different persons. My parents, Anselmo and Magdalena, who gave me life and always have been there helping and loving me. And as well, to all my students, previous and current, because learning with them is the way I have been learning to transcend and live my educational passions. And also because they are hope, they're the hope we need to change society. I believe that one of the most important missions I have is to promote educational contexts in which healthy and peaceful coexistence is developed. I am aware that the history of humanity is full of periods of terror and enchantment, but I also know that after the storm, calm will come right after. All over the world, we're living moments of health and social crisis that will be overcome soon. We just need to have patience and from our homes, act to change this reality, because the only activity the university rewards is action. We should act with faith in us as humanity and have it clear that hope is not something that comes from the outside and gets into our souls. No, we are hope. We have the commitment to, from our classrooms and community, fight for the freedom of human consciences and suggest the change of paradigms that will take the humanity to a better, fair, and democratic conditions. Better times are about to come, my friends, pretty soon. After being at UNM, I have become like the cactus in the desert, being able to grow on the rocks and touch with their flowers the loneliness of the desert, to adapt to different places and circumstances, standing up like the trees that are able to overcome the troubles of weather and nature phenomena, strong and never forget to flourish again, again, and again, having their leaves and their flowers that represent light, love, and hope. We, as educators, should live knowing that in the deepest of our soul, human dignity exists. We should take care of it, defend it, and protect it. We cannot lose it, because if we lose it, we could be lost forever. Muchas gracias, Universidad de Nuevo México. Thank you. Thank you very much, UNM and the College of Education. Muchas gracias, amigos, amigas, familiares, y mis estudiantes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Arismendi. And I love that message of hope and thinking about the lobo and the cactus and our beautiful desert and how that relates. Thank you so much. That was lovely.
I really miss being there, the skies. You know, I love New Mexico. Thank you very much.
Yes, we do. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful message. Lynn Barr received her bachelor and master's degree in business education from the University of New Mexico and proceeded to have a 30-year career in education. In 2008, Lynn co-founded Cottonwood Classical Preparatory School, the state's first public international baccalaureate program. In 2009, Lynn received the YWCA's Women on the Move Award for her work in education. In 2015, U.S. News and World Report ranks Cottonwood Classic as the 76th best public high school in the United States, the 20th best charter school in the United States, and the #1 public high school in New Mexico. They currently have their own facility on Jefferson with over 700 students and are ranked #2 as the best public high school in UNM in New Mexico by U.S. News and World Report. Lynn retired from education and currently volunteers with New Mexico Kids Matter as a court-appointed special advocate for foster children. She recently helped to develop the educational advocacy group to raise the graduation rate of children in foster care and help families navigate the educational system. Lynn is married to Patrick and will celebrate their 35th wedding anniversary in December. She has 3 grown children, all alumni of UNM, and 2 alumni of the Department of Education and Human Sciences. In her spare time, Lynn is an avid rock climber and hiker, but her favorite activity is to try to keep up with her 2 granddaughters. I can relate. Lynn, congratulations on your Alumni Award, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank UNM and the College of Education and Human Sciences for bestowing this award upon me. And congratulations to Dr. Anselmo, healthy and peaceful coexistence. I love that. And education is the hope. I agree with you. It's such an honor to receive this and revisit those successes. But as we know, successes are never yours alone. It takes a village. Typically, you think of that phrase as a partnership in youth. But after listening to a TED Talk by Michael Cato, an entrepreneur, he articulates this by asking a simple question. Do you have a village? He says you need to surround yourself with people and create villages, and not only to help you in areas of growth, goals, and dreams, but also to weather storms. In all my successes, it was the villages I surrounded myself with. As I walked down the admissions hall in early August at UNM, I still remember the hollowness of the huge hall and that I was the only one there. I stopped in the first office and I asked the registrar, I said, I'd like to go to UNM. And she said, well, where are you in the application process? And I honestly just sat and stared at her. She helped me weather that first storm at UNM and became a part of my village, along with several professors, the stacks at the library, and the College of Education. Dr. Childress McQueen was one of the 2 professors who became an integral part of my village. 2 of the most valuable lessons I learned in education came from Dr. McQueen and ultimately steered the curriculum at Cottonwood Classical. Let me take you back to one of those lessons. So we had just gotten our first electronic typewriter. Now, if you're under 40, just envision that it was a 3D printer because you have no idea what an electronic typewriter is. We got that in the College of Education and nobody knew how to use it. So Dr. McQueen brought the students in and had them go in 30-minute intervals to learn how to use the machine. What he took away from that lesson and shared with us in class the next day was a description of the method by which each student achieved the lesson's goals. Some students did it step by step, some of them used a rubric, some of them the manual, and others just went straight to handling the machine and exploring it. I'm sure you can guess which one of the students I was, and I can tell you I never followed a rubric. Achieving educational, or any goal for that matter, works and operates differently for all of us. While this concept is not new to us now, it was in the 70s. Rigid beliefs of learning were just starting to be dismantled. I was grateful to have a person in my village who was open to innovation in education. The second lesson for me was witnessing Dr. McQueen learn something about himself that day and openly ideate and applying his new understandings. Dr. McQueen never stood at a pedestal in the front of the room, but sat with us. He showed us that making shifts in learning is essential and that trial and error are welcome. I began my career in education teaching at Sandia High School in accounting, contractual law, and keyboarding. And Dr. G, I see you in the audience, and I know you just cringed a little bit when you heard contractual law. It was ultimately the keyboarding class that started me on my path towards graduate work in business and technology education. Dr. Edwin Weber, chair of the business department, gave me the leeway to do a concentration in technology. At that time, there was not an actual degree available or developed in this field. Under his guidance, I was able to work on projects at school and turn around and work with the other graduate students as we shared information. We had the first mobile computer lab in the city, one of the first basic programming courses, and we began a production lab where students broadcast the announcements. That village was my students, my colleagues, an amazing progressive administration that gave me the leeway to move fast and furiously. As was stated in one of my evaluations, fast and furiously. So I don't know if still to this day if that was a positive or a negative, but whatever. Also during this time, the educational climate had been changing and shifting in the state, and I saw such a stark difference between the educational processes at the public schools versus the private schools. I wanted all the students to have the same opportunities and the same educational settings that students were receiving at the private schools. Small class sizes, shared learning among instructors and students. This was the fuel I needed to begin creating the largest village I had yet, which would eventually become Cottonwood Classical Preparatory School. My co-founder, Lynn Carey, and I built a village of past colleagues, mentors, and business partners, and then we got to work. We decided on the International Baccalaureate program to prepare the students for success with a rigorous curriculum that compared to the private schools, as well as an international understanding. The final line of the IB statement, and I never want to get this wrong, so I'm just going to read it. These programs encourage students across the world to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. The methodology we chose was the Paideia program, Socratic seminars, academic coaching, project-based learning, and just a small amount of didactic teaching. And the final statement of the philosophy of the Paideia program is so relevant today. The instructional method nurtures social skills by teaching students the art of speaking and listening within respectful dialogue. It took over a year to complete the charter application, which was submitted in 2007. It was denied. This was our storm, and we increased our village. It took 2 submissions, a denial, an appeal, and finally approval. All of this effort brings us to where Cottonwood is today, one of the top schools in the state and nationally ranked as one of the top high schools and charter schools in the US. In the last year, 2 of our early graduates and a veteran instructor have come back home to us. One is an aerospace engineer at Sandia National Labs and sits on the governing council at Cottonwood. The other is a graduate of UNM and has come on board as an English instructor. Mr. John Binnert, who was an inaugural IB instructor, has come home as the executive director of Cottonwood. My true success is creating and nurturing the village that in turn is doing the same for Cottonwood. After retiring, as Mary already mentioned, I do volunteer work for New Mexico Kids Matter. I work with foster children and help them help give more information to the judges so they can make better informed decisions about these families. In doing some research, I found out that less than 5%, and you heard that right, 5% of foster children graduate from high school. So a group of us down at New Mexico Kids Matter put together an educational advisory committee where our mission and goal is to raise the graduation rate of foster children and also help families and students kind of navigate the systems. Then COVID hit. As we all work to navigate the new world and to do our best to maintain the progress we've made, despite the hardships of today, I encourage you to look to your village to help you weather this storm. So I would like to say a couple thank yous to some of my village members. Janet DeVesti, the Garcia clan, for the support and undying hard work. Pat Barr and my 3 children, Ashley, Sarah, and Kyle, for standing behind me and wondering where I was half the time. Susan Unser for her support of education in New Mexico. Barbara Blackwell, my administrator and mentor. Jackie Geertz for her tireless dedication at Cottonwood. Dr. Chad Redwing, our initial director at Cottonwood, and Denise Giannopoulos, CCPS's first governing council president. And my last thank you is to my mother, Dawn Chapsky, who is celebrating her 90th birthday this week, and she's in the audience. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lynn. I just appreciate that everybody is really keeping in mind what we're going through right now and offering us some hope for the future. And it will soon be in our rearview mirror. Thank you so much, Lynn, and congratulations. I was delighted to be able to award this award to another teacher, because teaching is in my heart always.
Thank you.
So the recipient of our community, so both Lynn and Anselmo are recipients of the Alumni Award. Our final recipient is a recipient of the Community Award, and this is awarded to someone within the community who may or may not be a UNM alumni. In this case, he is not, but has made a significant difference in the community, New Mexico community, the UNM community, the state community, and even beyond, has been an influence in the community. And so it's the college's Community Award. And the recipient of that award is Coach Rusty Mitchell. He's an outstanding teacher, mentor, and coach. And many of his former athletes attribute their success in life to his influence. And one of those athletes, Coach Doug Day, has been asked to speak on behalf of the family today. Sadly, Coach Mitchell suffered a stroke 4 years ago, which affected his speech. Doug Day is a 1977 alum of UNM in physical education, and during his senior year, he served as the gymnastics team captain under the leadership of Coach Mitchell. On graduation, Doug earned a master's degree in adapted physical education at Springfield College in Massachusetts. After serving as director of adapted physical education for the Half Hollow Hills School District in Long Island, New York, in 1986, Coach Day and his wife moved back to Albuquerque, where he served as Rusty's assistant coach and taught physical education classes for 11 years. Unfortunately, the UNM's men's gymnastic program, along with 3 other Olympic sports, including swimming, where my son wanted to excel, were dropped. Doug then served as assistant women's gymnastic coach and instructor of physical education at the University of Minnesota for 10 years. In May of this year, Doug retired after 14 years as head coach for the women's gymnastic team at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Thank you for joining us, Doug, to accept this award on behalf of Coach Mitchell.
It is with great pride that I've been asked to speak on behalf of Coach Mitchell. In retrospect, I attribute my success in life to the guidance and mentorship that Coach Mitchell provided to me as his athlete and colleague. Again, it is an honor to speak on his behalf. Obviously, I could talk about Coach for days. However, given the constraint of time, I'll do my best to educate you about this incredible man. Coach Mitchell is truly a legend in the sport of gymnastics and physical education. His many accomplishments through his 50 years of service to UNM's College of Education and Athletics could fill multiple manuscripts, which would include thousands of young men and women's lives who he has coached, taught, and mentored. Coach Mitchell graduated from Southern Illinois University with his undergraduate and graduate degrees in health education. While at SIU, Rusty won multiple NCAA gymnastic titles, along with earning a slot on the 1964 USA Olympic team, which were hosted in Tokyo, Japan. At the Games, Rusty was the first person in Olympic history to perform a double back on floor exercise. Traditionally, in gymnastics, the first person who performs a new skill at the World Championships or the Olympic Games has it named after him. I'm trying to adjust this screen here. In 1966, Rusty was hired by UNM as their new head gymnastics coach and physical education instructor. His impact to the program was immediately recognized and quickly earned national respect throughout the country. During his 33 years as head coach, his teams won 11 athletic conference titles, placed in the top 12 in the nation 23 times, and had 243 wins versus 98 losses for a 71.3% winning percentage. As a head coach, I wish I would have had that percentage. Individuals on his team earned 16 event national championship titles and 53 All-American accolades. In reference to his team and/or individuals, UNM was represented, get this, at every NCAA gymnastics championships between 1967 through 1999. That's gotta be an all-time high for any coach in the sport of gymnastics. Congrats, coach. Internationally, Rusty was the assistant Olympic coach at the 1968 Mexico City Olympic Games and the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich, Germany. He was also the assistant coach at the Men's World University Games in Moscow, Russia. He also served as the USA delegation leader at the World Championships in Varna, Bulgaria in 1974. In addition, Coach had 3 individual Olympians and multiple athletes that represented the USA at dozens of world championships and international dual meets. Locally, Rusty created and hosted multiple international meets in the pit for the public to watch. These included the nationally acclaimed Albuquerque Journal International Invitational, along with several individual competitions against international countries. He also worked closely with our national gymnastics governing body in hosting competitions for USA athletes to qualify onto international and national teams. Within the state of New Mexico, he also had his teams over the years perform countless exhibitions and assemblies at elementary, middle school, and high schools. During these exhibitions, He always talked about the importance of education and being a part of a team. Specifically setting goals, setting personal goals, and consistently working hard in and out of the classroom to achieve them. Thousands of UNM students know Coach Mitchell through his tumbling classes that he taught in Johnson Gym. Many of them took his classes multiple times because of how much they would learn, also how much fun they had. Coach loved the challenge of going the extra mile to teach gymnastics. His students loved his classes because he would instill in them, quote, that anything is possible if you totally commit yourself and work diligently. This is also true for the athletes on his team. His philosophy was, I'll give anyone a chance to make my team if they will commit themselves, work hard, and follow my rules. A good example of this is while I was Rusty's assistant coach, he allowed a young man named Farshid Kamali, who walked with crutches because he had polio, to work out with the team. Coach told him that if he could hold a handstand or rings for 10 seconds, he would allow him to continue to stay on the team. Amazingly, after almost a year of practicing very diligently, he accomplished the requirement and ultimately got to remain on the team. The following year, he actually got the opportunity to compete in a couple of home meets. Truly amazing. Farshid today is currently a physician. Most other head coaches that had national prominent teams would never even dream of allowing someone like Farshid to try out for the team. But yet Coach Mitchell opened his heart and his gym and allowed him to work out with the rest of us. As for Rusty's athletes, I'd like to quote what Professor Kravitz wrote about Coach in his nomination letter. By the way, Professor Kravitz was a teammate of mine in the early 70s. So here we go. Quote, perhaps Rusty's greatest impact has been his mentoring the college gymnast he coached at UNM for 33 years. I speak for the hundreds of former UNM gymnasts when I share with you that Rusty developed character, pride, honesty, dignity, and integrity in the young UNM global gymnast he coached. Many of us are teachers, professors, business leaders, doctors, lawyers, and entrepreneurs in the world we now live and thrive in. Rusty inspired all of us to strive for greatness in academics, athletics, and in our personal lives. He taught us how to always take responsibility for our actions as Ambassador Lobos representing UNM. In closing, I'd like to thank you, Coach, for everything you've done for me, my teammates, along with the general UNM student body over the years. You are truly, truly a special human being that has touched all of our lives in a very special and positive way. We are truly blessed to have had you in our lives. Congratulations, Coach, on this prestigious award. I can think of no one else that deserves it more. Go Lobos. Woof, woof.
Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate that. And you just made it clear why Coach is the legend that he is today. And what a wonderful privilege to honor him with this award. So I really do thank you so much. It has been so wonderful to finally meet these, you all, you award winners. to kind of meet you in person and get to hear from you. It's been a privilege for me personally, and I know for the rest of our participants as well. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your attendance, and thank you for really hanging in there with our village in this very difficult time. We hope to see you again in 2021, and who knows, we might actually be able to get together with some tasty snacks and that tremendous Lobo spirit. Thank you again for your attention and for your time.